just becomes so difficult. Once these tank numbers start growing, Hydralisks are pretty much useless. Even under swarms, they're just not enough doing. So this will be very interesting to see how Action tries to deal with this fully mechanized force from FrOzen, how he when he decides to engage again, and how he decides to do it. Looks like he hasn't gotten his 5th gas up and running yet. I think 4 gas is a lot for a Zerg player, so a 5th gas might be a little bit too much at this point. Maybe not going to be able to use it all. Some Vultures actually going into this inside 6 o'clock position, going to pick off a few drones while the Hydras sit merry and tight and watch them die, reacting very, very late. Not able to do anything there. And yeah, it looks like Scourge not going to be able to do anything to this Science Vessel. Science Vessel looking to get another Irradiate off, and does. How quickly will Action split? Action not splitting quite as fast this time, but still pretty easily and pretty quickly. I was able to click on that Mutalisk, identify it pretty quickly, which was very, very nice for him. So could have been much worse there if he hadn't been paying attention or had a little bit more struggles in terms of splitting them off. Defiler Mound has been completed, so we're going to be seeing some Defilers coming out soon. Some Plagues, some Swarms. Particularly, I think Plagues will help him a lot here. Swarms will at least limit the tank damage to splash if he can place them well. But he does have to worry about the Science Vessel Cloud. He needs to lower the Science Vessel count for FrOzen before he can really get going again. And this Mutalisk force has really grown in number again. He's devoted a lot of gas back into Mutalisk, so he's sticking to this Mutahydra idea and not going to switch over to an ultra crackling Defiler theory. I've definitely seen both ways. Really against a big mechanized force 20 minutes into the game for Terran. I don't know if there really is a dictated way of playing that's really all that successful. There's no really good counter to a Terran force that gets this big and this powerful. We do have a couple Defilers going. Hatchet being thrown down at the right side at the natural expansion of the 3 o'clock base, and a few Overlords. Finally looks like they have some speed wandering around. Need to get rid of some of these mines just to save himself time, and especially you don't want to. Occasionally you'll see a player lose a Defiler to a mine or something like that, and that is just so painful to watch. Just hurts so much. And a bunch more drones being spawned here, so it looks like he's going to populate that 6th base as quick as possible, and once again just try and take as much of an economic lead as he can. FrOzen is, of course, behind economically, but he's spent so little money in defending and producing units, and they've been such efficient money that he's really not that far behind. And these mines just chase. Looks like they chased about I don't know, 700 miles to kill off those Hydralisks and those Zerglings. They just will not quit those little spider mines. And I did very, very nice there. Defiler getting irradiated, throwing down a swarm that's really not going to do too much. Not really a dangerous position there at all for that swarm, but needed to throw something down. Although if FrOzen just stands there and shoots into the swarm surrounding it with his glides, maybe it'll do something. And Mutalisk coming in here to the 3rd base, picking off some SCVs, and a drop coming in as well with Hydras and Mutalisk in support. So a nice little attack here by Action, and FrOzen's a retard, and I am sorry, I hate FrOzen. What is he doing? Just standing. Look at this, he's just standing under swarm. He's not even sieging his siege tanks. Like, he's doing literally no damage to most of these units. What the heck is going on? I'm sorry. Why? FrOzen, I hate you. FrOzen, you tart. Like, if he wasn't in the situation of having a huge mechanized force, this would be over, because he is so bad. This is awful from FrOzen play, but I think I don't know if those Hydras did enough. I mean, they took down a lot of supply depots, but a lot of those were also turrets. So not a whole lot of damage done. I don't think they got that many SCVs. He did get a few at the 3rd base, but wow. Somehow, despite all of that, despite FrOzen pretty much being dumb for most of that, I think he still comes out ahead. Look at this huge tank force. It's just, what do you do against it? What do you do against this tank and Goliath force? It's just so difficult. And Action throwing everything he can and picking off a Science Vessel there with a couple of Scourges as well. He's got those swarms down if he can do something. Oh no, 5 Vultures getting into the 3rd base, and they are picking off a ton of drones. Looks like Action only has just now noticed and lost maybe a half dozen, maybe a couple more than that drones. And that is painful for him. A nice play going down, catching a lot of those Goliaths. Those Goliaths are asking to die. Can absolutely be picked off pretty quickly here. If he can get another swarm down, and the Lurkers, if they can burrow, he can pick off a ton of Goliaths here. Looks like he's going to pick off a few at least, but not all of them. And there's still those tanks. Those tanks are still around, still alive. And you can see what's going down there in the bottom right. Those drones and those Hydras, and the Zerglings, they just can't get through there. So there's nothing that they can really do to support. So those 2 hatcheries really are doing nothing in terms of helping. We do have a Nidus Canal at the inside 6, as well as another hatchery coming up there. I don't know if that's a very wise decision. I think all of that is very much at risk and could die very, very quickly. So I think that may have been a little bit of an error on on terms of Action's placement. I don't know if that thing's really going to survive that Nice Canal for an extended period of time. There is another Mutalisk at the inside 12 o'clock position doing some damage to these SCVs. Don't think it's gotten any kills yet, but they will if FrOzen doesn't respond. And if FrOzen didn't respond, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be disappointed, but I would not honestly be all that surprised if he didn't. Looks like he did finally send a single Goliath, and that was enough to take down the Mutalisk. And Action, it looks like, I mean, the right side base, that one has not been allowed to really start mining. The Vultures went over there and really took it down pretty quickly. And Action's really been pushed down to his third of the map or so. All of a sudden, you saw that just over the last 5 or 6 minutes, a complete change in this game from Action having more or less map control to really FrOzen somehow taking this game by the horns, taking the map, taking the military advantage, and now setting up the inside 3 o'clock base up as well. And it looks like he's taking the 3 o'clock main for his 5th, so he's really getting his economy going, getting his bases up and running. And I don't think that there's anything doing for Action now. I don't know if there's any way that he can really deal with this. Look at all those tanks. Jeez, that is just so many tanks. So many tanks. GG coming from Action. Wow. You wait too long against a Terran army in ZVT, and it just gets too big. It just gets too mechanized, too powerful, and there's just almost nothing you can do. And that's what we saw there. Action tried, but he made a. I think I think the game was really lost when he went in there with those Hydralisks and those Mutalisks, and the Hydras got held up on the mines, and the Mutalisks went a little bit early, and he completely failed in that attack. It wasn't that he lost, it's that he lost so decisively. He killed so little of FrOzen's stuff in that game that FrOzen just had such a huge military advantage, was able to get his third up nice and easily, and from then on it was all downhill from Action. Action really didn't have too much going for him, so that's going to be that. We're going to have STX finally getting a win here in the Pro League round 5. They've been having a pretty poor round, but still doing well, of course, overall in the standings. And they are going to get the win 3-2 based off of, I never thought I'd say it, FrOzen's ace win. Wow, who would have thought that? But that's what happened there. FrOzen getting the win against Action, and STX getting the win against Istro. I will see you guys all later. Peace.